Hello and welcome to Wine Wise. I'm Andrea Fusco here with Carmela Barbagallo on an episode of Auburn Regional Media Access creative programming. And Carmela, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me. I'm so glad to be here.
Thank you. Now, you're the executive director of the Wine Alliance. Tell me a little bit about that.
Oh, sure. So the Finger Lakes Wine Alliance was established in 2004. It's a nonprofit, and our mission is to expand the reputation of the Finger Lakes wines, the wineries, and the region itself. There's 36 winery members, and you must be based in the Finger Lakes to join and be an owner of the organization. And there's right now in the Finger Lakes, there's over 130 wineries.
Oh, that's more than many people I think would expect.
Yes, yeah, it's expanding all the time.
Wonderful. Well, speaking of expanding, I see we have quite the array of wines
Yes.
here. Would you give us a little description of
Sure.
what we have?
Yes, absolutely. So our region is known for producing great cool climate wines. Lots of people are already aware that Riesling is our number one produced grape in the region. And so I brought something a little different with us today, especially going into the holidays. I brought some wines that I thought would be festive. So over here you have 3 sparkling style wines. 2 are produced in a traditional method, just like wine from Champagne would be made. And then I brought reds, so something a little different from the Finger Lakes. I brought reds from Seneca Lake, Cayuga Lake, and Keuka Lake. And as you know, for us based in Auburn, Cayuga Lake is the closest lake with ample amount of wineries on it. So.
Yes, it is. And so with the holidays coming up and with the colder weather coming up, what are some of our best bets for enjoying and tasting?
I always like to start out an evening with friends with sparkling wine, and I know you enjoy that too.
Yes, I do.
I've learned that about you. So I would start with, you have a couple options here. You have some Blanc de Blancs, which this is Lakewood's 30th anniversary. So they're a family-run business that's been producing wine for over 30 years. And then another one from Lamoureux Landing, another Blanc de Blanc.
Yes.
Blanc de Blanc just means it's a white wine from white grapes, and they use Chardonnay to produce this wine.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
A nice smooth grape.
Yes, exactly. And so these are both crisp, bright examples of sparkling wine. Beautiful. And then Lakewood has another one that's very fun. It's called Candeo, and that's produced from Cayuga white grape. And it has a touch of residual sugar on that one. So I would think about the Lakewood Candeo if you're entertaining friends who don't like that dry, crisp nature that some sparkling wines can have.
Perfect.
So those are great options. Lamoureux Landing and Lakewood are both located on Seneca Lake. And then I brought some red wines that you can explore. So this is Boundary Breaks from Seneca Lake. That's their Cabernet Franc.
Oh, yes. It's a winery I've wanted to visit.
Oh, great. You should visit.
Yes.
It's lovely. The owners are fantastic, and they just built a new tasting room, which is lovely.
That's what they were telling us at one of the wine dinners I went to.
Oh,
Yes.
nice. You got to meet
The
them.
new tasting room.
Great. So the Cabernet Franc from Boundary Breaks. Cabernet Franc is probably the most predominantly produced red wine in the Finger Lakes, and I really enjoy it. If you haven't had the chance to try it at home, I would recommend Cabernet Franc from any of these locations. We have another Cab Franc from Buttonwood Grove. Are you familiar with them?
Yes, been there. Lovely setting.
Buttonwood Grove produces a wide selection of wine, and this is their Cabernet Franc. It's a great family-run business, and they're located on the west side of Cayuga Lake, so not too far from Auburn. And then from Knapp, which is really close by. Knapp is a long-standing, well-run winery from the Finger Lakes. This is their Pasta Red Reserve.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I dare people not to like this wine. So it's dry in style. It has a very soft finish, and I think it would just appeal to anyone.
Very versatile, right?
Yes, exactly. And then Kit and Nancy over at Bet the Farm have produced a Syrah called K Syrah Syrah.
Not like the song, right?
A little bit. So, and it's a beautiful wine. They make great reds there. That's something they're doing tremendously well. They used to be located in Aurora.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now we were talking, and you mentioned they relocated to
Trumansburg, just near Trumansburg on the kind of southwest side of Cayuga Lake. So they have a nice new tasting room as well. And then Lamoureux Landing, they're located on the east side of Seneca Lake.
Okay.
If you haven't been there, they have a beautiful facility, breathtaking views. They do all estate-grown fruit, and they're really proud of that. And what that means is they grow all the grapes on site. And when they harvest the grapes, and all of our winemakers have just completed harvest or nearly completed harvest. I don't want to rush things. But they've been working really hard throughout this long, cold fall. And Lamoureux Landing is very proud because they farm the grapes right there, and then they bring them right in and press the grapes. So there's like no middleman. They're very proud of having control over that whole process, and they're able to keep their prices down. Their wines are very affordable price points for very high quality. Nice. And they can really focus on that quality. And then over here I have a Huron Hill wine. This is actually a Bordeaux style red blend. That includes Cabernet Franc, Cabernet, and Merlot. They're located on Keuka Lake. They actually have 3 different tasting rooms, and they're great winemakers.
3 different ones?
Yes, they have one on Canandaigua Lake,
okay.
Keuka Lake, and one on Seneca Lake.
Oh, okay, so kind of spread out a little
yes.
bit, but nice, so people can experience it.
Yes, it's wonderful.
Excellent. Now, with the climate here, is this basically a typical fall, winter, or fall?
It is typical,
winter?
Especially in that you don't know what's going to happen when.
Yes.
In the fall, we kind of wait for the rain to hold off because we want that full fruit flavor in the grapes. The Finger Lakes are very proud to be a cool climate wine production region. So we're not trying to be like a warmer climate region like Napa or maybe Argentina. We are a cool climate for sure. We have very specific growing conditions. I did mention Riesling grows tremendously well here. Yeah. And then our reds are things like Cabernet Franc, Merlot, Pinot Noir, and they're produced really nicely in cool climate viticulture style.
Wonderful. So it looks like we have, for a wide variety of tastes here, which is really nice. And speaking of a wide variety of tastes, you also have instructed the Exploring Wine course at Cayuga Community College.
Yes.
Which I and other people enjoy failing every year, so we can
So they have to retake the course with me. Yes. I'm newly involved in that course. And what were you going to ask?
And tell us a little bit about the course.
Oh, sure. So the class was taught for a long time prior to me joining the team by a gentleman named Bob Wojner and Bill Prosser.
Wonderful gentlemen.
Yes, and they had a cult following for this class, as you know.
Yeah.
So I came along later, and I've been really enjoying the class. And what we do is we have this group of students who can't seem to pass the course, and they have to keep studying. Non-credit is right. But something I've done with the class is we've brought in a food and wine pairing aspect to it. So we've studied wines from all over the world, haven't we? And we take a look at, usually we'll focus on maybe sparkling or a certain varietal like Cabernet or Chardonnay and see how it's produced in examples from all over the world. Yeah. And we do different courses throughout the evening. So each course of wine will be served with foods from Scratch Farmhouse Catering. Luke is the chef there, and he's so fantastic. And so we try to pair foods that we think will complement the wine.
And how difficult is that?
It is time consuming.
Yes.
Part of the challenge is we usually do 15 to 18 wines in a given night, which is a lot of hard work.
Small pours.
Yeah, very small pours. And that's in order to give us like a wide range sample of wines to really try different things to see what the folks in the class really enjoy. And it's interesting because people have such different tastes, as you see. And the planning is really done on my part. I try to pick the courses and pick wines that I think will taste really well, and then pair foods that I think would be great. But the challenging part is that I don't always get to taste those wines ahead of time. So you're not quite sure how it will present during the class. I can't buy those 18 wines and sit home and pair them on my own. But yeah, I mean, it's wonderful. It's a lot of work to prepare. And it's really fun, yeah.
And then we get to enjoy the fruits of your labor, so to speak. Well, I look forward to hopefully another class in the spring because I think we all went through wine withdrawal.
This fall, I took a break.
Class. You took a break, but you're understandably so busy. Now, you have also had a lot of experiences traveling the world and country with various wine tastings and wine expeditions. Any that stand out?
Sure. I must maintain that my favorite region is really here in the Finger Lakes, and part of that is the beautiful vistas of all the lakes and the friendliness of the people here and the wines themselves. In the United States, I've really enjoyed Willamette Valley in Oregon.
Oh, yes.
So
Nice wine.
yeah, they're beautiful. I'm a big fan of Pinot Noir, which is their predominant grape there. And I find the countryside beautiful and the winery staff really friendly and the wines top notch. I always enjoy going to Napa and Sonoma. Have you been?
No, but I hope to.
Okay, good. We have to get
It's like
planning
on the
that.
list.
Yeah, exactly. Those are always lovely,
Yeah.
and that's a very different style, warmer climate, producing, generally speaking, bigger wines than you might see in a cool climate production area. I also have traveled to Argentina and Chile. And so that was probably one of my favorite trips. I got the opportunity to go with my former job being a wine distributor, and it was kind of on a whim. I went to visit Estampa Winery in Chile, and then I went over to visit Zuccardi,
I
a
think
family.
we talked about those in class too.
So that was fantastic, and I think wine travel is something really fabulous because you get to explore food and wine and see different geography and meet great people.
It does kind of broaden you.
Yes, it does.
That's wonderful. And so, about bringing us back to the Finger Lakes wines, a lot of people aren't really sure what they like
Okay.
and aren't really sure where to start. What's some good advice
Well,
for
I
the
think-
novice?
Yeah, I think what I've seen in the Finger Lakes wineries is that there's often something for everyone.
Yes.
So and I see this when I worked as a wine distributor, you have people walk through the door when you're doing a tasting to say, I like extremely sweet wine and that's all I like. Or there's other
Exactly.
folks that don't enjoy sweet wines at all. So when you go to these wineries locally, the good news is you see a wide range of styles of wine. And what I would do is, people shouldn't be intimidated about wine. Ask questions, work with the tasting room staff, mention some things that you do enjoy as far as wine, and that can help guide your experience.
And they can better help you.
Yes, absolutely. And that's what they
Yeah.
love to do in those roles in the tasting
They
rooms.
do, right. They're
Yeah.
friendly. They want you to ask questions.
Yes,
They want
absolutely.
you to taste. They have their spiel.
Exactly. And don't
Yeah.
feel, like I said, don't feel intimidated. That's why these tasting room folks are there, and it's their job to give you a really positive experience. And if you don't like something not a lot of people know is that there's buckets on at the wineries on the counter, and you can politely pour out a wine or spit a wine and just move on to the next one. The goal in producing wine is you're not going to make all wines that every single person will love.
No,
Yeah.
otherwise, where's the fun?
Right, exactly.
How do you really know? Are there any trends that you see in people's enjoyment of local wines, particularly? Any specific kinds that are quite popular at this time?
Sure. Something we're seeing, and we're glad to be seeing this in the Finger Lakes, is that the younger generation is into lower alcohol white wines. Aromatic wines like Riesling, Gewürztraminer, Pinot Gris. They're seeing the food pairing aspects of those wines, and they're really enjoying those. So again, we're really happy to hear that because that's what we do very well, and we produce a lot of those aromatic white wines. We're also seeing that folks are interested in versatility and how they can carry wine, so we're seeing wines in cans.
Yes. Speak to that a little bit, because some people are kind of turned off by that, yet
Yes.
some people think it's really cool.
Right, and it's not traditional. It's something relatively new
Yes.
for wine, where we're seeing a big trend with it. I think it's fantastic to bring to the beach or on the boat.
Exactly.
You're not going to break that glass bottle. And it's pretty new for the Finger Lakes. So we have some producers like Belangelo, Lakewood, Fox Run that are now doing wines in cans. And we're going to see how it goes. I think it's selling well and taking off pretty quickly, maybe more quickly than those wineries would have perceived or expected. And we'll see how the trend progresses.
You know, I'm wondering for gift-giving season if people might be more
Stocking
prone to, "Here you
stuffers,
go."
yeah.
It's easier to put in.
Yes, exactly.
Do you have a particular favorite
Oh,
out of these? I ask you that leading question
well,
because I think I would have
can't
to
answer
taste
that.
them all. You probably can't. But if you, do you have a particular favorite of your own wine? Like,
Well, it just depends on the time of year for me.
Yeah.
So I'm very into red wine right now with the fall and winter coming soon. I always love sparkling wines, and I'm just enamored by Riesling. I really am. I love the minerality. I love how they can differ depending on what type of soil they're produced from. And I love styles from dry to sweet. I really enjoy all Riesling. So.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, I got to enjoy them once I realized Rieslings could actually be dry as
Exactly.
well.
So you're a fan of dry wines.
I am.
And dry, many people perceive or used to perceive the Finger Lakes region to be big on producing sweet style wines. But really, I urge you to explore that because dry Riesling is fantastic from our region as well and very popular.
So we're here with 2 lovely bottles of red that we're going to tell you about with the help of Carmela.
Yes.
So would you do us the honors?
Sure. So I'm going to pour you 2 wines today from the Finger Lakes, 2 red wines. So we'll start with this Cabernet Franc. This is from Buttonwood Grove Winery. That's on Cayuga Lake, and you said you've been there before, which is so nice to hear.
It's lovely, and I'm going to do our official, like what you're
there
supposed
you go.
to do,
Check
right?
the color.
Check
I'll
the
pour
color,
some as well.
Check for clarity. Swirl.
Yes. Smell.
Yes. Lovely bouquet.
Yeah.
What do we get from it?
I'm getting. So both of these wines have oak treatment, so that will impart some aromatics to the wine. You'll get a little bit of vanilla. Do you get that?
I did get vanilla.
And that's from 14 months in French oak barrels. So that's an aging process that can give a little depth to the wine, and like I said, it'll give some flavor profile to the wine.
Body.
Yeah.
That is full. You're absolutely right. Because sometimes, I don't know, some of the ones I've tasted aren't as full as this. And aren't as well, I can taste the vanilla as well.
Yeah, Buttonwood does a great job. They're family run, the Pittard family, and they live really nearby to Auburn. Like I said, this is the northwest side of Cayuga Lake, and they produce lovely whites and red. Okay.
So this is the Lamoureux Landing?
Yes, this is a Lamoureux Landing Merlot. We'll give it a swirl and get our senses tuned in here.
You're better at that than I am.
So as we mentioned, both of these wines have oak treatment. And what that means is they're barrel aged in oak barrels. This is a Merlot. The vintage is 2016, and this is done by Lamoureux Landing. That's on the east side of Seneca Lake, all estate fruit and estate bottled. So they farm the grapes right on their property. They harvest and bring the grapes right in to press and then start the winemaking process.
Wonderful. And they've really expanded, haven't they?
Yes, they're doing great production volumes. They produce everything from sparkling wine, lots of white styles, and then today we're trying one of their red.
Oh, wonderful, because I had a privilege of being at a wine dinner where their wines were featured.
Oh, that's so nice.
And we all have the owner's business card to visit.
Very
so
good.
I guess I better take them up on it.
Yes, oh, they're lovely. Both of the owners are fantastic.
I'd like to thank Carmela for being here today. Thank you so much. It's been so much fun. And
thank you so much.
I look forward to further wine interactions.
And exploration. Yeah, I hope we do the class this spring.
So. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
This has been Wine Wise with Andrea Fusco, here with
Carmela Barbagallo.
And we wish you happy holidays and good taste.
Yes. Cheers.